Hello and welcome all. Welcome to the aftermarket analysis session, just like every day. This is the aftermarket analysis session where we look at what happened today after the Indian markets Nifty and Bank Nifty closed. Where was the interest of buyers? Where was the interest of sellers? And we try to read the footprint well. So if you are new, want to learn order flow, and want to learn how to use the footprint effectively, you can join this live webinar daily at 5 p.m. You will find the link to this live webinar on the GoCharting, Discord, and the Telegram community. If you are using GoCharting before 5 p.m. at that particular time, you can also join the webinar by going to notifications and clicking on the link from there. In any case, if you are unable to join the webinar, you can watch the recording of this live webinar on all the GoCharting YouTube channels. Okay? In whichever languages GoCharting has YouTube channels, this live webinar is uploaded in those particular languages. Links to all GoCharting YouTube channels, as well as the Discord and Telegram community links, are provided in the comments. You can join all of them. Okay. Let's take a look at the Nifty levels here for a moment. Levels in the sense of checking the confirmation of the volume profile to see what confirmation we had from the volume profile yesterday and the day before. Okay. First of all, yesterday's confirmation was this, that yesterday's market was completely sideways, and within this sideways market, a volume node was formed for the entire day. We marked this large volume node as the value area high and value area low. Okay. Once the volume profile of yesterday's session was marked, then we marked the volume profile of the previous session. What confirmation was the volume profile of the previous session giving us? If I remove today's session from here, it was confirming that the volume profile of the last 3 to 4 days, 1, 2, 3, 4, has a volume node formed here. Okay, meaning the most particular area of these entire 3 to 4 days where the most buying and selling occurred is this area. Okay, so we mark this, and then this was the low area of its volume node. We mark this one. In any case, if it breaks to the upside, then the swing high of the day before yesterday's market, somewhere there was also this volume node here. Okay, so we marked its high, and then if it breaks to the downside, there was also this volume node here. We marked it. So how did we take the volume profile confirmation for yesterday and the past 3 to 4 days? Just okay. Now on these same levels, today we will see where and how we observed something on the order flow. Before reading the footprint properly, you should know what delta is, because with the help of delta, we are going to read the footprint here. Now, what is this delta? In simple language, we refer to the difference between buyers and sellers as delta here. And I will explain how this difference between buyers and sellers works. Okay, all right. Now look at the first candle. This is the first candle. If we look at the delta of this first candle, the value in the top line is the delta value inside a green box, and there is no negative sign in front of the value. So this means it is a positive delta, and a positive delta means we a buyer. Whether I say positive delta or buyer, it means the same thing. This means there are more buyers in the first candle, around 14,000 as compared to sellers. Now, how is this 14,000? How was this delta value calculated? Where did this value come from? Let's take a deeper look at it once. On the right side of the footprint, we have buyers, and on the left side, sellers. By multiplying, buyers are on the right side, sellers on the left side. So if we total the buyers, let's assume for a moment it's 24,000, adding all these buyers together. To understand, let's take a rounded figure and then add the sellers on the left side. Assume their total is 10. What is it? Okay, so what difference was created here? The difference of 14,000 is on whose side? Who is more? Buyers are more, so 14,000 more buyers. When the buyers and sellers were subtracted, this answer came out. So similarly, the value of delta also came out to be the same here. Okay, this is how delta is calculated. Now, as we are proceeding with this candle, okay, what did we observe inside this candle? Negative delta. How is it negative delta? Firstly, there is a value inside the red box. Okay, there is a negative sign in front of the value from above. So that means this is a negative delta. Now, how is this a negative delta? Because just as there were more buyers here, if we apply the same formula to this candle, there were more sellers here. Okay, so we call this a negative delta. You can call it a negative delta or sellers because in this candle, there are more sellers, around 56,000 compared to buyers. Okay, now we have understood two things. Whenever we look at the delta of any candle, like when we looked at the delta of this candle, we quickly understood who is more powerful in this candle, the buyer or the seller. Buyer. Who is more powerful in this candle? Seller. In this candle, seller, seller, seller. By looking at the delta of each candle, we can determine within a few seconds who is actually more powerful in that candle, the buyer or the seller. Okay. Okay. So right now we are looking at two types of delta. Like this candle is 24,000, 24,000, okay, 56,000, 27,000, 48,000. And then we are looking at the delta, which is only 9,750, just 1,000. Now it's a matter of both negative and positive combined. One type of candles are those whose delta is very high, and another type are those whose delta is very low. So in the candles with a very high delta, there has been heavy buying and selling, and where heavy buying and selling occurs, the market direction is also somewhat clear on that side. And that is the potential candle that clarifies the market direction. And then there are these candles in which there has been very little buying and very little selling. Okay, so these candles do not have the potential to clarify the market direction in any way. So what is a better option for us is to pay more attention to the footprints of those candles in which there has been heavy buying and selling. Okay, now what would be the value of the candle footprints that we need to read? Let's assume 30,000. Okay, 30K. Okay, so how will we read the delta and footprints? Now, we will pick those candles that have a heavy delta. Okay, let's look. From the start, first candle, second, third, fourth, every day there is very heavy buying and selling in the first candle. But today was such a day that there was very little buying and selling in the first candle. There was also very little buying in the second candle, the third as well, and the fourth too. Assume that this was the volume node. This was the value area high. And this was the value area low. Okay, but right now the market is in between this. And we didn't see any solid volume confirmation on either side. 24,000 is very low volume. If we look at the morning session of the past few sessions, the volume was very low, nothing was clear. Okay. As soon as the 950 candle light started to form, we saw a solid confirmation. What did we see? Firstly, we observed a heavy delta in this candle. Secondly, the volume node of yesterday's market, its value area low was broken in this zone with solid selling. Okay, the value area low of yesterday was broken with solid selling. This is a very good confirmation. A breakout has occurred with heavy selling. Now, how will we read the footprints? What confirmation did the delta provide? There has been significant selling. Okay. What did the delta indicate about the sellers? We jumped onto the footprint. Which side is the selling side? Left side, okay, the left side is the selling side. So we will quickly read the left side and look at the place where the most selling occurred. Where did the most selling occur? This is the place where the most selling occurred. Negative of 51K. Sorry, selling of 51K. Look, we went to the selling side, quickly read once. Where did the most selling occur? Look at this 51K delta, 12K delta. Even if we skip the 12K delta, this is the particular zone where the most selling occurred. We mark this exact zone as a resistance. Now look at this. Continue after selling. The market went down. There was considerable selling in the next candle as well. There was significant selling in the candle after that as well. So what happened within these three candles? Broke the value area, low. Note yesterday's volume. Selling was initiated here. Continuous selling continued and continued, meaning continuous selling went on for 15 to 20 minutes. After breaking yesterday's value area low, okay, the most selling happened here. Selling came on the pullback of the 50 bank. Now look, no buyer is interested anywhere. Everywhere only negative delta, everywhere only negative delta. Okay, negative delta everywhere. A pullback came and gave a downside move. Okay, there is no positive delta in any candle, so the footprint is still on our side. Came back to the pullback. None, none. Saw a slight buy at 17. But this is also very low. What is the main thing here? Look at this. It held this level for 20 to 25 minutes here. Without any solid buy interest, very little buying interest. Held, well, another downside move was observed. And in this downside move, there was a decent amount of selling. This selling happened, and this selling happened. Here, some selling absorption we observed, because look at this. Okay, there was a significant amount of selling here, from which the selling delta gave us a breakout with selling on this 50 candle. Selling happened around the same area. And what happened here? Look, if I mark the selling zone of the previous candle, selling occurred right above the spot zone. And after that selling, the price reversed from there. It also held. A significant buying activity was also observed. It came back on the pullback and a slight upward movement was seen from here. But throughout the day, the market remained between these two zones. Okay, these are the unexpected movements from last time. After 3 p.m., this was today's Nifty. What we observed and how. There was very low volume at the start. In the 950 candle, there was significant volume and it broke yesterday's value area low. The continuous selling persisted. There was a pullback. The pullback happened within the same selling zones. There was no buying interest anywhere. It kept getting rejected from there. Eventually, it touched the node of the combined volume profile of the past few sessions. It hit the target somewhere. Significant selling was also observed there. But all this selling was absorbed here. All right. How was it absorbed? The selling happened at the price. But after the selling, the price went up. So this selling can act as a support zone somewhere. The upside movement held. And around 3 p.m., it broke through. Okay, that was today's Nifty. If we look at Bank Nifty, Bank Nifty was a bit simpler today. How was it simpler? A significant selling was observed in the second candle. In the first candle, there wasn't much volume, just like Bank Nifty. Selling occurred, continuous selling happened. And the most significant selling was in this zone, 11K selling and 8K selling. there was a selling. Selling occurred in the next candle as well. The market remained stuck there, and some buying occurred in this candle. But the next candle broke the buying zones of this candle. The resistance was well respected. Downside move. Another selling was observed. The market stayed there for quite a while after this selling. Look here. A negative delta of 26K and selling of 35K occurred here and later. This zone was broken with selling. It did not break to the upside either. It remained stuck in the same zone for about an hour. After that, it broke to the downside with significant selling. This means that this selling is still active in the market. There was a pullback right there. No solid buying was seen anywhere. And from there, it took a downtrend. Two selling zones were observed. And those selling zones worked well. This was today's Nifty and Bank Nifty. Now, if you have any doubts, unmute and ask.